Pharmacy Residency Match Day is the day of the year where most of the pharmacy residency candidates find out where they're going to be for the next year or maybe two of their lives. It's a very exciting and nerve-wracking time for everyone involved. That includes the candidates, the residency programs, and even the friends and family members of the candidates, as where they end up is going to change their lives as well. As a past resident, there are a few things that I wish I would have known, and I think that every candidate should know before match day. So here they are. The first one is that your match results are not indicative of your worth as a pharmacist. It's important to remember that great pharmacists go unmatched every single year. I know several pharmacists who are phenomenal at what they do now that did not actually match for a pharmacy residency, and they're still successful. There are so many things that go into the pharmacy match, many of which are totally out of your control, including who else applied. Maybe they have a preference for their past interns, or they know somebody at the program very well. They spent maybe a month there doing a rotation. Those things do impact who matches there. And there may be personal things, like maybe you're not the greatest at interviews, even though you're going to be a great pharmacist when you take care of patients. You could have an off day. You're going to be nervous in interviews, which is not how you're going to be on your day-to-day life when you're practicing as a pharmacist. Maybe you just weren't a good match for the culture of the places that you interviewed at, and there's no way for you to know that until you interview there. When it comes to the clinical cases and questions that come up, it's important to remember that those are much more like schoolwork than actually taking care of patients. So if you get disappointing results on match day, just remember, you can still be a great pharmacist without a residency. And it's also important to remember that there are great programs in Match 2 and even the Scramble that would be lucky to have you if you choose to go that route as well. The second thing I think that every residency candidate needs to know on match day is that you have every right to be upset with your results, even if you match. I cannot tell you the number of times people say, oh, well, if you match, you should be grateful. It doesn't matter if it's first on your list or last on your list. You should just be happy that you match because other people didn't match. And if you've been here a while, you know I love gratitude. I am all about gratitude, but I also know that it can be incredibly disappointing when you don't get to match at your top program. I didn't. You can grieve not matching at your dream program. When you open those match results and you get that email and you see a name that is not the one that you put number one on your rank list, it sucks. It hurts. And even if you get someplace that is high up on your list, it's still gonna suck and it's still gonna hurt. It may take a few minutes for you to let that sink in, or hours, or however long it takes you to process that, for you to get to the rational part that reminds you that you put them on your list for a reason, that you are going to still be able to get what you want out of your career and out of your residency at the place that you put on that list and the place that you matched. But emotions aren't the most rational thing, so it is okay to feel those feelings and maybe not feel the most grateful when you open those results right away. The third thing that I think residency candidates need to know is that match day is much of an ending as it is a beginning. You're closing a big part of your life, that candidate phase. All of the prep work that you have done in pharmacy school to get to this point, you are closing that chapter. You are no longer a candidate. You're an incoming resident. Congratulations. For some of you, that also means you're closing out your student career, which is also a huge part of your life. You've been doing this part of your career for years. This is a great time to reflect on everything that you accomplished as a candidate, all of the work that you did to get to this point, and think about what you did in this time frame and what you can do in your time frame as a resident. The fourth thing that I want to tell you about is one that is a bit of a sticky subject, but I'm going to be real with you. Just because you matched doesn't mean you have to be a resident for the next year. I'm not going to pretend like it isn't frowned upon to pull out of your residency program, because it is. But if you have the proper reflection and you know without a doubt for a fact that going through a residency is not what you actually want, I can promise you that trying to do it for the next year is not going to be good for you at all. Ultimately, residency is a job, and you do have the option to back out or quit at any point in time. That means now or whenever you even start the program and you realize that this is just not going to work for you. For most programs, they're going to have you sign a contract at this point, so you have not signed the contract yet. Yes, when you go through the match, they make you sign something that says you're obligated to go where you're supposed to, but nobody can force you to do this. This is your life. There are loopholes around it. Trust me on this one. If residency is not the right choice for you and you have decided that you're going through with this just because you think that's what you're supposed to do, you don't have to do a residency to be successful. Now, if you decide that residency is not your option and you have a matched position, people will try to tell you that you have ruined your entire career, that you're not going to get another job, it's going to be impossible for you to work in a hospital, and I can tell you right now for a fact that that is not true. If you are going to quit your residency, make sure you don't burn bridges. Do it in a very professional way. Also, if you're going to do this, this is not a decision that you make on match day. This is one that you think through and process and decide after match day whether or not this is what you need to do. Now, I'm not going to lie, this is the beginning of your career and doing something like this may make it more difficult. However, if you realize that residency is not the choice for you and you want to go into a different field altogether, so maybe you don't want to go into hospital pharmacy, maybe you want to be a PhD, maybe you want to go into academia and this is not the route that you want to do it, it is better for you to go out on your own terms than to get fired or be told that you need to leave the program because you are not meeting performance standards. I know multiple pharmacists who have gotten jobs in a hospital successfully after not completing a residency that they started. I also know others that have changed course completely and are doing a totally different job within the profession of pharmacy outside of a hospital because they realized that that's what was best for them and they left their program because they knew that staying for several months was not going to make them happy and it was not going to help their career. This is your life and this is your career and you have to do what's best for you. And tip number 5 is to remind you that residency isn't a solo act, it's a team sport. One of my deans used to say it takes a village to raise a pharmacist, and I completely agree with that. There were so many people in my life, my family, my friends, my advisors, my teachers, my preceptors, my classmates, all kinds of people impacted my career and helped me get to where I am today. The same thing goes for you. If you match or don't match, this is incredibly important. If you end up not matching, you have the option to go through phase 2. If you choose to do so, you need to reach out to that support system, those people that wrote letters for you, and ask them if they'd be willing to continue to be a letter writer for you. Not only that, you probably want to reach out to a few people to look over your application to see if there's anything that you need to change or improve before you go into phase 2. If you don't match and you decide you're going for a job, these same people will probably write you letters of recommendation for your job that you're applying to, and they'd be great people to go to ask for advice when it comes to applying for a job. You never know, one of them may know a job that's a really good fit for you. If you do match, you also need a support system, but that support system is probably going to come from people that are currently at your program. Reach out to the current residents. They're going to be a great source of information for how to get licensed, the things that you need to prep before you go there, where you're going to live, how to study for your law exam, etc., etc., etc. There are just so many things that they're going to be able to help you with. As a resident, your support system is incredibly important. You need a support system within the program, so that could be your co-residents, mentors, preceptors, your RPD, your residency coordinator, and then you also need a support system outside of residency. That can be your family and friends, and I even encourage you to find a few people that are residents outside your program that you can reach out to that understand the woes of being a resident, but maybe also allows you to vent a little bit about what your program is doing. The bottom line here is to ask for help when you need it and accept that help when it's offered. And there you have it, 5 tips for residence candidates on match day. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you hit that subscribe button for more residency videos coming your way. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!
Now that I'm looking back, I can see all the signs I tried to fill